Folks, in my 20 years in the league, I've seen a lot. I've been in the war rooms, scouted some of the most promising talents, infiltrated some of the most secretive front offices, and witnessed the rise and fall of franchises and careers that most fans only dream about. But what's happening right now with the Buffalo Bills? I can tell you, I've never come across anything quite like this in my entire career. Something is brewing behind the scenes, something so massive, so clandestine, that it's about to reshape the entire landscape of the NFL for 2026. And if you pay close attention, if you have the inside scoop, you'll know. This doesn't just involve a player or a coach. It's about the future of the Bills as a Super Bowl contender. And it might involve a trade nobody saw coming, with ramifications so seismic, most analysts are too cautious to even mention it openly. But I'm here to tell you, the truth is out there, and what you're about to hear might just be the most explosive scoop of the offseason. So buckle up, because what I'm about to reveal could change your entire perspective on the NFL's most intriguing puzzle. And it all starts with one name, Trey Pipkins, III. But first, I need you to do your part. Hit that subscribe button, smash that like, and activate the bell. Why? Because you're not just watching some generic analysis, you're getting the insider truth, the secret intel, the kind of info that's buried under layers of league secrecy. There's a divide right now in the NFL world. If you're just a casual fan, you're probably clueless about what's really happening. But if you're someone who's been on the inside, a scout, an analyst like me, or someone with ties to the front offices, you know that these rumors aren't just noise. They're the tip of the iceberg, and trust me when I say, what's coming next will blow your mind. This is the kind of story that has the potential to shake up not just one team, but the entire NFL hierarchy. So stay with me, because what I'm about to unfold is more than just a rumor. It's a conspiracy layered with future contracts, big money, and a strategic move that could set a precedent for the entire league. Ready? Let's dive in. Now the first shocker. The Buffalo Bills, fresh off a heartbreaking divisional loss to the Denver Broncos, a game that saw Josh Allen's once dominant arm and mobility tested like never before, are in a state of upheaval. The firing of Sean McDermott, a coach praised for his grit and leadership, isn't just about on-field performance. No, it's about the bigger chess game. The Bills' front office, led by Brandon Beane, is no longer playing checkers. They're playing chess. And in this game, the key piece. Trey Pipkins, III. You see, despite the loss, the Bills are quietly making moves that suggest something unprecedented is happening behind the scenes. Right now, they're eyeing an offensive line upgrade of historic proportions, and I can tell you with certainty, the player they're targeting isn't just any veteran. It's Trey Pipkins, III, the 29-year-old right tackle from the Los Angeles Chargers. And this is where it gets wild. First, why Pipkins? Look, I've watched his film, analyzed his metrics, studied his trajectory. Pipkins is a player who's always had raw talent but struggled with consistency early in his career. Out of Sioux Falls, he was a third-round pick in 2019. At 6'6", 309 pounds, with arms nearly 34 inches long, he possesses all the physical traits NFL teams covet. The size, the reach, the agility for a big man. But what stands out isn't just his measurables, it's his development. Especially in 2025, during a season packed with injuries to the Chargers' offensive line, Pipkins stepped up when it mattered. Against the Steelers in the playoffs, he faced one of the league's elite pass rushers, T.J. Watt, and held him to just one sack in garbage time with minimal pressures. That's no small feat. Watt, a perennial All-Pro, dominated many tackles that season, but Pipkins, he stood tall, especially under playoff pressure. Now here's the key. The Chargers' offensive line has been a mess this year. Injuries to Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt decimated their depth, forcing Pipkins into a role he wasn't entirely prepared for. He's been a stopgap, a filler, a player fighting against the odds. Yet his performance in the playoffs changed the narrative. Scouts, myself included, see a player who's trending upward. His run blocking remains inconsistent, but his pass protection, that's elite. His film shows a guy who can anchor, mirror elite rushers, and keep a pocket clean when it counts most. Analytics, they tell a story too. While his regular season PFF grades hover in the mid-60s, not elite but respectable, his playoff grades skyrocket into the high 70s, even touching 80 in some matchups. Advanced metrics suggest that Pipkins, pass block win rate in postseason scenarios is among the top 15% of tackles in the league. Why is this so critical? Because the Bills' new regime, desperate for an upgrade at right tackle, needs someone who can reliably contain elite pass rushers, especially in high-stakes playoff games. And that's exactly what Pipkins has demonstrated. But it's not just about his on-field performance. It's about the potential fit. The Bills are in the midst of a coaching overhaul, and they're leaning towards offensive minds that emphasize protection, quick passes, and a scheme that unlocks Josh Allen's unique talent. Pipkins, with his athleticism and recent playoff performance, fits perfectly into a plan that requires versatility, toughness, and reliability. The Bills' front office sees him as a cornerstone, a veteran who can anchor a revamped line that's been their Achilles heel for years. And here's where it gets even more interesting. The Chargers, knowing they're facing an impending rebuild with their own roster, are open to strategic moves. Trading Pipkins isn't just about clearing cap space or acquiring draft picks. It's about shifting the offensive line's identity and perhaps even about positioning themselves for a bigger rebuild. But for the Bills, this isn't just a splash deal, it's a statement. They're willing to move heaven and earth to fix their O-line, and Pipkins is the piece they've been scouting now for months. Now, how could this trade unfold? Well, considering the salary cap situation, it's a complex dance. Pipkins is entering the final year of his current extension, which isn't massive but is enough to make teams think twice. The Bills, with their ever-expanding cap space and a need for immediate help, could package a mid-round pick or a future day 2 selection. The Chargers, eager to rebuild their offensive line and capitalizing on Pipkins' increased value after the playoffs, could ask for a second-rounder, maybe a conditional third, depending on his performance in Buffalo. Cap-wise, the Chargers would maneuver to absorb his remaining salary, possibly restructuring his deal to create immediate cap space, or working with the Bills on a swap that is cap-neutral. Considering Pipkins' market value in the current landscape, a trade package involving a 2026 second-round pick feels realistic. The Chargers want to hedge their bets, ensuring they get value while still preparing for an inevitable rebuild if Slater or Becton's injuries continue to linger. For Buffalo, this move is about upgrading their offensive line in a hurry, locking in a proven playoff performer, and signaling to their fans and players that they're committed to contending now, not later. And let's be blunt, the ripple effects would shake the league. This isn't just a trade for a veteran right tackle. It's a statement that the Bills are all in on their rebuild, that they've identified Pipkins as a key piece for their championship puzzle. And the Chargers. They get a young, proven pass protector with room for growth, someone who fits perfectly into their new scheme, and perhaps a player who could be a cornerstone in their own rebuild. Now here's the other part of this equation, the fit. The scheme compatibility is no accident. The Bills, under their new offensive brain trust, love athletic right tackles who can mirror speed rushers and protect Josh Allen's deep drops. Pipkins has the ideal size, arm length, and footwork to excel in a scheme that emphasizes quick sets, zone blocking, and mobile pocket protection. Comparing him to players like Lane Johnson or Ryan Ramczyk isn't far-fetched. He's emerging as a player with the athletic tools to be among the league's top-tier OT if given the right environment. But what's the upside? Well, if Pipkins hits his ceiling in Buffalo, and this is the big what if, he could become one of the league's most underrated guards of the future, a cornerstone for a Bills team looking to break their playoff drought. Worst case. He remains a solid starter who provides stability for 3-4 years, a valuable asset in an era where consistent O-line play can make or break a franchise's title hopes. And remember, this isn't just about Pipkins, it's about what this signals to the league. The Bills are willing to pull the trigger on bold moves. They're ready to shake up the roster, swing big, and retool around Josh Allen's prime. This trade would be a statement. They're in it to win it now, and nothing is off the table. It's a chess game, and if the rumors are true, the first move has already been made. Now, what do I think about the timing? Well, with the coaching search in full swing, and top candidates like Brian Daboll, Grant Udinski, and even some surprise names circling, they want to secure offensive line stability as part of that rebuild. Pipkins offers immediate impact, playoff experience, and the kind of physicality and technique the Bills need to push their offense over the edge. Expect whispers, negotiations, and maybe even a leak or two in the coming weeks. The NFL always operates in secrets, but rest assured, this isn't a bluff. The Bills' brass knows exactly what they're after, and Pipkins is their target. And think about the broader picture. If this move happens, it sends shockwaves through the league. Other teams will watch how Buffalo pulls this off. Will it inspire similar bold trades elsewhere? Or will it set a new standard for how teams approach offensive line upgrades in a league obsessed with pass protection? One thing's for sure, this isn't just a rumor. It's a signal. A sign that the NFL's 2026 season will be more explosive, more unpredictable, and more strategic than ever before. And I haven't even touched on the fact that the Chargers, with their questionable cap situation and a potential rebuild looming, might see Pipkins' departure as the first domino in a series of roster moves. Could this be just the start? A sign that Los Angeles is planning to get aggressive in free agency or the NFL draft? That's a story for another day. But mark my words, what's happening right now is unprecedented. We're on the brink of a seismic shift. So with everything laid out, the film, the stats, the market, the scheme fit, the trade mechanics, I can tell you this, Pipkins to Buffalo isn't just a hope or a wish. It's a calculated move, a chess piece positioned perfectly on the board. And if the rumors are true, and I have good reason to believe they are, then the next few weeks could be the most explosive in NFL history. Stay tuned, because this isn't just about one player, it's about reshaping the entire future of the league. And I'll be right here, breaking every piece of the puzzle as it comes together.